Alrighty, welcome everybody. Welcome to Brownsville Tech Live. And in the house tonight, we've got the Apple guru of gurus for the RGV, Mr. Doug Blunt. As you know, today was the big September product release announcement from Apple that occurred during noontime, and we are here tonight to go over some of the highlights of today's product release. Doug, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Danny, glad to be back. Trying to stay cool
Yes.
down here in South Texas.
Well, definitely, yes. It is a scorcher still. No end in sight to the heat and no hurricanes.
Kind of hoping we will have a hurricane so the weather cools down a little bit. We could use the rain, that's for sure.
No, no doubt about that. We definitely need the rain. Hurricanes actually are the Earth's air conditioning system.
Well,
So
we could use it.
they serve a purpose to cool down the atmosphere, but it doesn't seem we're very lucky. At least, well,
Maybe we can call Octavia Spencer and maybe she can help us out.
maybe she can. I know she was at Cupertino today. No doubt about that.
Mother Earth. Mother Earth. We can get into that.
All righty, Doug. So what are some of the things that you learned today? And by the way, we'll flip over in a little bit to the if you could give us a generalized listing of what transpired, and then we'll flip over to the virtual theater for looking at each one individually.
Okay. So we started the podcast. I had a bet that Tim Apple would be on top of the spaceship, but he actually fooled us. He was standing on ground in front of the spaceship. So
Yeah.
yeah, and so of course, so they start out the like they do every Apple event, with something humorous or whatever, and then of course, so they were talking. Tim Apple was talking about all the lives the Apple Watch have saved, and
Just
in
like you predicted.
Hawaii, and yeah, he does. He eats that stuff up, man. And he talked about that for a little while, and then then they got into the app. They got into environmental issues, what they're doing to save the earth,
Yeah.
and they had a like a SNL skit, and Mother Earth was Octavia Spencer. Of course, so she's in the Apple TV and on the TV series called The Truth Be Known, where she plays a podcaster
Yeah.
that solves crimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a pretty good actress. I like her,
Yeah.
and it was humorous. It was very funny, and Apple, they go on and say how they're saving the earth and all that, and that's all good stuff,
Yeah.
and I thought the most interesting part about that whole thing was recyclable cobalt.
Right.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, a hundred
Yeah.
percent. So so that's yeah, as we all know, that's a battery deal, right? That's
Right.
part of the yeah.
Right.
So
All
and
right.
then we dived and then we just dived right into the Apple Watch, the typical Apple Watch 9. Okay.
Yes, the
And
Series 9 was released today.
yeah, so probably the most you want to get into the features of the Apple Watch
Yes,
9
let
or
me
do
let me
that
flip
later?
screens.
Okay.
Flip screens here, and let me turn on the iPad, the virtual iPad. Where the heck is the virtual iPad? Oh, there it is. Alrighty, we've got our virtual iPad. Let's click on Safari. And sure enough, we've got the Apple Wonderlust photo there. Let's jump into the
Mm,
watch real quick here with the Series 9. According to Apple, it's smarter, brighter, and mightier. So, what can you tell
bigger
us about
chip.
this watch, Doug?
Oh, it's got a bigger chip in it, and
Yeah,
it's brighter. They keep on using that. What was that?
Nits.
What's the nits? I think I
Nits.
heard that like 10 times in the whole hour and a half. Nits. Okay, but the most outstanding feature that I thought, but when we was watching it, was the click click.
Yes, the double tap. They call it the double tap.
The Yeah, so they show a young girl, young teenager in bed, and her Apple Watch goes off in the morning, just like mine, and she just goes click, click with her fingers like that, and then it shuts, and then it snoozes some more,
Yeah.
and I think that's going to be kind of interesting.
Well, definitely, you did mention they have a new chip. It's called the S9.
Yeah,
It's a dual core CPU with about 5.6 billion transistors. It actually has 60% more transistors than the S8. I assume that's the previous chip. And then it's
yeah,
got this new four-core neural engine, which apparently processes machine learning tasks up to 2 times faster. And it enables a number of innovations, including the new gesture double tap. So they talk about that,
that's interesting. That double tap.
right?
Yeah, you know, yeah, I guess it's okay. I mean, but you know, like I look at my watch quite a bit when I'm riding my bike, right?
Yeah,
So I'm putting along about 18 miles an hour, and I just flip it over just like this,
yeah,
and it comes on. It's always on. So, but if you can change to go, but I would like to be able to go from app to app. So maybe that's what you can do. Like I'll give you a good example. When I'm riding my bike, I've got it on workout mode, but I want to know what the temperature is, and I want to know what the wind speed is, and I want to know what the time is.
yeah,
Well, that's kind of hard to do, you know, in order to find that out because I don't want to leave the workout app.
right.
Okay, so then I go to the phone. Okay, and then I just say, um, hey Siri, um, tell me the temperature. Okay.
Right.
And it tells me, but but if this could do the same thing, this would be great.
Yeah. Well, definitely the answer. I mean, as you saw right there, I could play rec. You see the hand move and it goes the double tap,
Yeah.
and so it
Yeah.
answers the phone call. That's pretty cool. It's kind of interesting. I guess it's got sensors on the bottom part of the watch that detect. I think I don't know which guy it was. I can't remember. I don't. The thing about these Apple events now is you used to have all the big names, and now they've opted and pushed those aside for some of these people you don't even know anymore.
Well, they're
And
pretty
so
well. You mean like the engineers and program managers and
yeah,
designers
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff?
Before it was the big
Yeah.
wigs, and now it's not
Yeah.
the big
Yeah.
wigs. It's more
W-
the lower
Well,
levels.
they need more time to count their money. Okay, that's what the whole deal is. So, I mean, why, they got all this money, so they need time to do that. So
Yeah,
they have the program managers and their marketing guys and all that kind of stuff
yeah. It
to do
says
that.
gestures make Apple Watch even easier to use anytime, especially when your hands are full. Just double tap on your index finger and your thumb together to answer a call, to open a notification, to play and pause music, and more. And it's a good question as to what that and more will eventually mean.
Right. That's a good question.
It says play and pause music while carrying your groceries. Answer a call while paddleboarding. I guess when you're riding the bike, Doug, you'll be able to do that. Stop a timer while baking a pie. Reply to a message while walking the dog. Check your smart stack while holding your toddler. Look at that. It's a nice, beautiful screen. Um,
Yeah.
2 times brighter, Doug. 2 times brighter. And it says it's up to maximum brightness of 2000 nits. So it's double the resolution of the previous watch, which was the 8. And apparently, according to the girl, I can't remember her name, she says that it's brighter in sunlight than the previous model. So that'll come in
Yeah.
handy.
Yeah, and I tell you the truth, I have no gripes with my watch now,
Yeah.
in the sun. It works pretty good. I'm kind of curious to find out is that when you're in the pool, when I'm swimming in the green monster, okay, and I got my scuba gear on, and I'm Lloyd Bridges on Sea Hunt, and I always have to. It won't tell me how many, my workout. And so
Okay.
what I have to do, I have to press the crown right here, see,
Yeah.
in order to turn it back on.
Hmm.
So I wonder if you're underwater and you go like this. I wonder if it comes on that way. I
Oh,
don't know.
that would be interesting. All right.
That'd be interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But no, I think that's all cool.
Yeah, and then
So
they've go ahead.
yeah, you're getting more and more like Tom Cruise in what was that movie made about 15 years ago?
The Matrix,
No, Tom Cruise, the one with the
Mission. Yeah, it was the Matrix. Wasn't it the Matrix? Yeah, it was the
no,
Matrix.
no, no. It was a sci-fi deal, and Tom Cruise was
Oh,
he
that's
was he was a
right.
cop.
Oh,
You arrest a cop. You arrest a guy before he commits a crime.
yeah. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I know which one you're talking about. I get him
Yeah,
confused with Keanu. Well, one of the
yeah. So
things that they talked about was that Siri's going to be more integrated into the watch. Apparently, later on this year, they're going to include health data, including things like how much you slept, uh, what um, what your heart rate was, and then the other thing. Well, for the ladies, um, it'll give them information about their time of month and things like that. So, um,
yeah, it does that now,
yeah,
but it doesn't really show any history. This probably shows the history.
yeah,
Because it's just like tonight waiting around. I just checked my heartbeat and my EKG and all that. But it's interesting to note they didn't announce any earth-shaking health benefits like there was a rumor was last year was it was going to come up with a thermometer,
right.
to check your temperature and stuff, or the holy grail, the blood pressure checker, or diabetes checker. But
Does it now
it may
check
be in the
anything like
works. But
O2 levels? I usually have to measure my O2 levels. Does it do that now or no?
yeah, does that now.
Yeah.
It does that now. Matter of fact, I just checked it about a half hour ago, and mine was at 99%. Yeah, it checks it, and it keeps
Yeah.
a history of it too.
I've been kind of ill the last couple of weeks and my O2 levels have been down and then of course, my daughter just got diagnosed with COVID yesterday.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, we're kind of in isolation right now, you know. But
Okay.
so far I'm been lucky up to this point. I haven't gotten anything. So, and then it talked about HomePod control. Do you have a HomePod
Yeah,
or
I got a million of them. I got an orange mini in my on my desk,
uh-huh.
and then when I go out to the green monster, I have this white snowball,
Yeah.
and this has got a battery I bought off Amazon,
Uh-huh.
and so see because there's no battery in the home pod. Okay,
Yeah.
it's all hooked by cords. So I take it out to the pool with me,
Uh-huh.
and I put it while I'm swimming. I listen to whatever I want to listen to.
Oh wow.
Usually jazz or something. It
Yeah.
holds about 3 hours,
Yeah.
and then I've got two home pods behind me here the big ones. You see them?
Yeah, I
You
see
see
them.
them running the TV.
Right.
And then we've got one. We got one in the living room. Then we have one in the bedroom.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So I
So the
use HomePods.
yeah,
I have a
apparently you're
love hate relationship with HomePods. Okay.
well. They apparently said they're going to introduce more HomePod control.
It needs it. It needs it. Right
Yeah,
now, you can only say, "Hey, Beavis," and then it plays. That's all the control you got.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then
and
apparently they're talking about that the it's going to have more iPhone finding of some sort. Precision finding they call it.
yeah, this is for the people that they can never find their phone,
Yeah.
and so there's a feature now on the watch that you can say, it rings your phone, okay,
Yeah.
and so you have to look around the house to find it. Okay, or you can just say, look for Doug's watch on the home pod
Yeah.
and it'll find it. But this way here, it tells you how many feet.
Yeah.
So, for example, yeah. So, it narrows it down to, like, God, yeah, it's
Well,
so that's kind of the,
if the phone slips between the couch, that could be a problem, right? You can you'll this will give you a little bit more precision. Same thing sometimes
yeah,
when you're in the car. I've had that happen where my watch kind of slips between the seats and you can't really find it, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this
This
would
tells you, yeah, it tells you, that, if it's 6 feet away or 12 feet away or whatever.
yeah, this would come in handy for my daughter. I know that a couple of weeks ago at school, she walked practically a mile because she thought she had left her phone over in another building, all to find out that she had it all along in the backpack in a hidden pocket. So
She should
definitely
have
this
used,
feature
she,
would come in handy because you know
yeah, she should have
exactly
used
how
her
many
Apple Watch.
feet.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see here what else. And then of course, watch OS 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I'm
of
in the
course,
process tonight of downloading OS 10. After this, I already downloaded iOS 17.
uh-huh.
Just got it downloaded.
Yeah.
It's still in beta, but it's going to be released next week. They said so.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
thought, well, it's done.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, but I'm looking forward to the new features and iOS, on the new watch iOS because well, mainly because of the workout because it's got some cool stuff on biking on there.
Yeah, it says watch OS 10 update brings more to your screen than ever before. Virtually every app has been totally redesigned to give you more information at a glance. From any watch face, simply turn the digital crown to reveal the smart stack with widgets for relevant and timely information. And now with insights for mental and vision health. I'm not sure what mental health features are talking about, but okay. You can keep track of your body and mind right from your wrist.
Yeah, and you saw examples of that on the opening segment. Where you know, uh, they had all these people around the world. They had high heart rate, and the Apple Watch saved their life and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, I actually there was probably one or two of those clips that I had a little tear jerker here and there, because I could relate to some of the events that some of those people were probably experiencing, in my lifetime. So, I mean, having that capability will definitely lead to saved lives, no doubt about that.
Well, I've only used it one time, and it was a couple months ago, and I was at the bike shop in Brownsville, right? And I came in, and I put my ass on one of those slick stools there, bar stools,
Yeah.
and I slid off the stool and I fell down.
Oh no.
Okay, and then and then the watch went off. 911, all that kind of stuff. Of course, so Terry was right there, and so was Evelyn. So I mean, and everybody else. So not a big deal, but I mean, yeah, I've fallen, I can't get up,
Yeah.
type of deals. And my next door neighbor, Grace, she's a bit older than I am, and last summer she fell, and after she had back surgery, she fell and broke her ankle.
Oh
And
no.
I knew that she had an Apple Watch, and she was in the hospital for a long time and in therapy and all that. And then finally, she came home, and I asked her, I said, "Did your Apple Watch go off?" And she says, "No, because I had it on charge," and
Oh
she
my
wasn't wearing
gosh.
it. Yeah, so she just laid down for all this stuff for a long time.
Oh my gosh. Imagine
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh man. Well, one of our viewers is saying, Dan and Doug, you should buy me an Apple Watch. Well, unfortunately, the only rich guy is Doug here. So.
No, hey, uh, not me. I'm on the dole, man. I'm on Social Security and a pension.
I know. All right, let's see what else here. A first for Apple Watch. Let's see what a major step. Oh, of course. Can't forget
Another
that.
environmental deal.
Yep, carbon neutral. Carbon neutral. They spent a lot of time talking about carbon neutral, and it says that Apple's first carbon neutral product is here. They're saying that the watch is completely carbon neutral, that they've done ongoing innovations in materials and clean energy and low carbon shipping. Apple Watch is now available in case and brand combinations that are carbon neutral. Some of the things they talked about, I don't want to just repeat the same Kool-Aid coming out today, but basically they said that, they reduced that this Series 9 and the new Sports Loop is going to reduce the carbon footprint by 78%. Apparently, these bands are carbon neutral. They're not going to, well, what the heck happened here? They're not going to have any more leather bands. And I wasn't sure, how does leather contribute to carbon? Doug, do you know?
I guess because they don't have to, the the cows don't have to, pollute the atmosphere or something. I don't know. I mean,
I was trying to figure that out. I said, well,
I,
how does leather contribute to the carbon emissions? Maybe you're right. Maybe, less cows mean less, CO2. I don't know. They don't breathe as
CO2.
much. As I was hearing some of these things, I mean, I can understand, when Tim Apple was talking about, for example, their reliance on, shipping, for example, versus air. I mean, I don't know about you, but you and I've worked in manufacturing, and flying anything over air was always frowned upon because it was just so expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm a little surprised that they really touted, that they were really doing a lot of shipping through the ocean. I thought they would be doing it by now already, not because necessarily because of a carbon neutral stance, but because it's so much cheaper logistically to ship products over the ocean versus air, you know?
Yeah, but whenever you buy a new Apple device, you go to the website, you buy a watch or iPhone or something,
Uh-huh.
they always ship a FedEx to you. And that means that, they ship it by air,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Unless you're in that town, like
And it's
say
got
you're
a
in San
distribution
Antonio,
center.
but you know, if you buy an air tag, shoot, I bought air tags from them and they ship them to me FedEx.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know. So
so
I don't
I
know.
was a little kind of stumped on that, but I said, okay,
Yeah,
you
and,
know.
and not only that, they had that real expensive watch brand called Hermes. You know,
Yeah.
that's got the big leather thing around and stuff. And those watch bands sell for like, I don't know, close to $800, $900.
Yeah.
And those are all made out of leather too, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so.
I can't
So
afford
I
one of
I
those
don't know.
watches.
Yeah. And that's a big profit deal for him, for Tim Apple. So I don't know what I don't know. I guess they're just being responsible company,
Yeah. I
instead
mean,
of
I can see the reduction in plastic or the elimination in plastic packaging. I
it
can
saves
see
them
that.
money. It's a cost reduction deal,
Yeah.
you
You
know.
know, but as far as the shipping over the ocean, I thought they'd already be doing that now, regardless of carbon, but oh well. And then, of course, as we mentioned before, the Apple Watch helps you better understand your mental and physical health, and when you're ready to share, I guess you'll be allowed to share that with your doctor, your friends, or your family members who are in control. I guess if you collapse somewhere and you need to transmit, I don't know, data or something. It watches out for your heart. It's got an ECG app. It's capable of generating an ECG similar to a single lead echocardiogram,
Hmm.
electrocardiogram, excuse me, which
Yeah,
is
I've
interesting.
I've used that. The EKG features have been out for several years now,
Yeah.
and I've compared that with my cardiologist. You go to the cardiologist. They put
The leads.
the leads on your chest and stuff.
Right.
And at the same time, when they were doing it, I hit the button on my watch for the EKG, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, how does this compare?" And it's very accurate. It's almost like the EKG the doctors use.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
definitely the other big plus is the blood oxygen. I use an oximeter quite a bit to measure my oxygen levels, when I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing too hot. So that's kind of interesting. Uh, the same thing with the Dream Machine. It's kind of interesting to see, this a sleep app, right now for people who have CPAP machines or they use CPAP machines. One of the things about the CPAP machines is it keeps track of how many times you stop breathing. If they could incorporate that into something like that in the future, I mean, that'd be great too. Of course, if you sleep with your watch, right? I mean, we saw that girl
Yeah.
in the beginning of the event that was sleeping and got a message over her iWatch and she used double tap. But I mean, being able to track stuff of how often you stop breathing, which is why somebody needs a CPAP machine.
Right.
Is kind of, I'm still trying to figure out how that CPAP machine really works because the only thing that is in between the person and the CPAP machine is a mask. So how those machines determine how often you stop breathing, they call them events. It's kind of interesting itself, but if they could move that technology into the watch, man,
Well,
it would
we'll
make
have to ask
things.
William Shatner about that because he's a big guy for CPAC machines.
Yeah, yeah,
But he didn't he have a commercial? I'm going to tell you that something that you never knew about me, and he said I'm a CPAC machine user or something like that.
yeah. And then it says freedom. One of the things they mentioned a little bit was being able to take a call or maybe a notification when you don't have cellular service. Not really sure how that
That's
works. Hmm.
that's going to be kind of interesting too,
Yeah.
and That's a part of the roads. Is that's I got it down here on my list here. Part of the roadside assistance deal. Remember
It
that?
may be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
because
right now,
you
Doug,
can
they
join.
talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can
They
either
talk.
join Triple A. You can
Yes.
join Triple A, or there's other ways that you can join it too. So if you're not a Triple A member, you can just pay for out of your like you do another Apple service deal, right?
Right.
Another way to
Now,
get money
one
out of
thing
you.
they mentioned is Apple Pay. Can you right now pay directly from your watch? Because they seem to indicate today that now you'll be able to pay directly from your watch. Can you do that now, or do you have to do it via the phone?
No, I do it all the time on my watch.
Okay. I'm not sure
Yeah.
why they
Also,
said
yeah,
it
yeah,
was a new
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And you can do it. Let's say I buy something,
Uh huh.
and on the computer, you can use your watch. You can use the your watch to pay for it. Okay. Now I've got a fingerprint keyboard. Okay, with my Mac,
Okay.
so I just use that. But you can pay off the internet with your watch. If you go in and get a smoothie or something, you can pay off the watch. Okay, when we on the way up to back and forth to Minnesota,
Uh huh.
okay, your airline tickets are in there too.
Hmm.
So when you go up to the person that scans your airline ticket when you go on the plane,
Uh huh.
you just double tack and it goes in there.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So your boarding pass
So
is on there, is basically what you're
yeah,
saying.
your boarding passes on there,
Yeah.
and at baseball games too.
Oh
At baseball
wow.
games,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Because the baseball games they don't have tickets anymore. It's all digital.
Right. Wow.
Yeah,
Let's
and
see here.
I'm sure all sporting events are like that because it cuts down on fraud.
Yeah, it can. It can definitely.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about losing a ticket or anything like that. So, yeah, it's
Big
gonna be
thing. Big.
they've had the sleep feature for a little bit. It tells you how long you sleep. But see, when I go to bed at night, I put the watch on charge next to the bed
Yeah.
stand, and
Right.
then I always wake up about 4 o'clock in the morning or 4:30 in the morning, and then I take it. The first thing I do, I look over at the watch and I see what time it is, and then I take it off the charger and then I put it back on my wrist.
Uh.
So I sleep about half the night with the watch off, and about the other half with it on.
Oh wow. Well,
Yeah, I used to sleep with it all the time
they
on.
definitely talked about crash detection. There was a little video snippet in the beginning that talked about somebody who had a crash, and crash detection actually helped them with regards
Yeah,
to that.
yep.
And then, of course, fall detection. There you go, Doug.
Well,
You ever go back to bicycle
I
world and you,
personally know them. Yep,
you fall
I
off
know,
the
I
stool?
personally know about that. I felt kind of foolish when I fell down, and I go, oh, but yeah, my shorts were slick and the seat was slick, and I slid on there, and man, I slid right off, and man, right on my
On your
ass there on the
keister.
floor of the bicycle world there. Broke the
And then,
chair too.
of course, they didn't charge you for the chair, did they?
No, after I just got done spending $2,300 for a bicycle, I don't think so.
And then, of course, they're expanding emergency SOS quite a bit too.
Yeah, that's a good feature.
Yeah,
Um, if if you're stuck on the Himalayan somewhere, and like that one dude was, and he couldn't get off, and so they next day they came up and took him off the Himalayas.
yeah.
But
Wow.
no, I could see, like, for example, up in Minnesota, my daughter and her family, they camp out quite a bit.
Yeah,
And they go to parks up there that they don't have cell phone coverage.
yeah.
Lots of them. And so if something would happen, say Jace would fall and break his leg or get hurt or something, well, then they could do the SOS feature, and that would help out. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I can see it.
the pricing on the watches, the Apple Watch SE is $249. followed by the new Series 9, which is $399. And then, of course, you've got the Ultra 2, the Apple Watch Ultra 2. You want to just briefly talk a little bit about that? I'll flip over to that
Yeah.
screen. We won't take a whole lot of time, but I know that you've
Yeah.
been
Well,
dying to get one of these for a
I
while.
I love the Ultra. I've said many times instead of buying this one last fall, I should have bought the Ultra, but I couldn't. I couldn't see spending the extra money at the time, but I wish I would have now. And when we were in Minnesota last week, one of Taylor's friend Hector, he had the Ultra. I always call it the Ultra watch in the wild because it was the first time I'd seen a Ultra watch, not in an Apple case,
Yeah.
and he likes it quite a bit. Hector does. And this, they just made some improvements on this. Is that they got the action button on the side there?
Yeah, I see that. It's right there,
Yeah,
right over here.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then longer battery life, 36 hours and stuff. And then the dive computer for
Right.
underwater stuff. And we've all seen that. I love that nighttime mode there.
Yeah. Yeah, it says that
Yeah,
it's bright up to 3,000 nits.
3,000 is, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
as the days get shorter, I can use that riding my bike.
Yeah,
I can still
especially here
see
in
the
the
screen.
fall.
Yeah, I can still see the screen, but this, you know, I feel like I'm in, the submarine for the hunt for Red October. With the red light in there and Sean Connery in there, and go, oh, we have to sink the ship or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
no,
a great.
I love the Ultra. I think it's and yeah. Getting back to the other watches, the rumor is this year was just like a little enhanced, but next year it's going to be the big redesign
Yeah.
because believe it or not, the Apple Watch will be out for 10 years next year.
Wow. Hard
Yeah.
to believe that.
Yep. ten
Hard to
years, and so
believe
they
that.
usually do a redesign like they
Yeah.
did with the iPhone. But the Ultra Watch is, I love the Ultra Watch. Yeah, I love the watch bands too.
Yeah, and it's going to be carbon neutral as well in certain combinations. Especially, I guess the thing that makes it completely carbon neutral is the type of band. If you decide to use a leather band, then you're not completely carbon neutral. you
Well,
know.
I had one of those Velcro bands on this watch here,
Yeah.
and when you swim, it gets kind of itchy after you get done swimming. It gets really itchy.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I actually, and it was getting kind of ragged looking because it was almost a year old. So I just basically the other day just threw it away, and then the watch band they give you, they give you when you buy a watch, the little plastic elastomer
Mm-hmm.
band. I I I actually like them now. I actually like this band.
Well, one of the things about the Ultra Watch which catches my attention is it has a built-in siren. So if you've got a person that's older in the house and you don't
Yeah,
necessarily, are watching them 24/7, they should fall, it'll get an audible sound. Um,
and not only that, you can do this too.
yeah. Yeah,
You know,
it's
I've,
yeah, it's kind of interesting. I had a family situation a few years ago. They found my uncle dead. Like 3 days later, he had fallen while outside in his ranch, and nobody knew about it, and he died. But had he had something like this, we probably could have saved his life. You know,
yeah.
a lot of times, as you get older, and I'm not a spring chicken myself, but going up and down these stairs, it can be a challenge at times. And there's been once or
Oh
twice I've
yeah.
missed a step.
Well, it's just added on me. Two knee replacements and a hip replacement, and and I'm always, I'm doing exercises now, you know, that helps on my balance.
Right.
Very simple exercises, but you know, because I sometimes I get up, I get dizzy or whatever,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, as you get older, you're gonna be that way,
Yeah. Yeah.
and no, all that stuff's good. So Apple is knowing that their market is getting older, and so they're adjusting
Yeah.
their line with that. Of course, so remember the old Ronco commercials, the
With Ron Popeil?
yeah, like you know, clap your hands and the lights go off and on.
Yeah, the
Remember that?
clapper, the infamous
The
clapper.
clapper, yeah, the clapper. I've fallen, I can't get up.
Well, let's look at the iPhones. Obviously, the lineup starts with the SE. There's still the 13, the 14, the 15, the 15 Pro. So let's go into what was announced, which was initially the 15. Let's go in there. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Surprised they kept the 13 still around, but
Well, there's always there's I saw a number the other day that they had the second when you get ready to get a new iPhone, you trade it in, right? Well,
right.
this outfit buys them, and they're still selling iPhone 8s. They had like, I don't know, $100 million in sales on an iPhone 8 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
For yeah, so there's a big market for all those old phones.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
All right. Well, the
Well,
15
and
starts.
Apple's going to sell that stuff because even an iPhone 13 or older is because, hey, that's money in their pocket because everybody wants the services.
Right.
Okay. And so the more phones they put out there, that's more money for, Uncle Tim, Apple, Tim Apple can give Auburn.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another donation.
Another donation,
He's an
So,
Alabama boy.
yeah, well, his college is Auburn, right?
Yeah, he's got that southern drawl from Alabama.
Yeah. I wonder if he drives an electric car.
I don't know. I
That
don't.
one dude on there, the vice president of engineering.
Uh-huh.
You saw he was on the presentation, okay, and he's like the second command to Tim Apple, and he still drives like a. I saw an article the other day. He drives like a 2002 Toyota Camry to work every day.
Wow. Well, maybe it's for
Yeah,
commuting purposes.
I don't know, but everybody else has got Maseratis and Vets and expensive Teslas and all that kind of stuff. And here's this
Right.
guy, vice president of engineering, second in command. He's driving a 2002 Toyota Camry.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess to each their own.
Yeah,
All right. So
nothing
one
like
of
a
the
2000, nothing like a 2004 Aztec, huh?
That's right. So one of the big things about the iPhone 15 was the dynamic island. This was first introduced, I believe, in the 14 Max, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so now they're introducing that into the iPhone 15. Um, the other thing, if I could switch over here somehow, oh, I guess if I did that right, it comes with a 48 megapixel camera and a super resolution. It takes super high resolution photos, and it comes with a 2x telephoto lens.
Yeah, pretty awesome, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And
And
that's
then
not even their best phone.
I know. And of course, the big thing is USB C. No more Lightning connector, Doug.
Yeah, well, Apple didn't have a choice on that because the European Union forced them into that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but Apple was going that direction anyway. So now it looks like just about everything Apple sells takes USB C.
Right.
So, so there'll be an outcry just like 15 years ago. You remember the old Apple, remember the old, they had like 12 pins on them, and you stuck
Right.
them
I
in.
remember that.
Yeah, okay. And they said, oh, they're changing the cables again. I got to buy all new cables. Everybody was the public outcry.
Yeah.
Okay. and they go, Apple's changing the cables again.
Yeah.
That'll be the headlines.
Yeah.
It's been
Now,
like 15 years, so it's time for to move on.
right, and of course, the only thing that may make this a whole lot easier this time around it is a universal standard, USB-C.
Yeah.
So, there are advantages long term because now, you'll be able to grab just about any USB-C cable out
Yeah,
there.
and I can still charge my second generation AirPods with USB C now too.
Yeah. And
So,
they've got brand new colors. They've got I don't know if I could tell
but
if it
as
tells
Mother
you.
Earth would say, what are we going to do about the the uh, the shuffle,
Yeah.
the iPod shuffle? Though we don't have a charger for that. Okay, remember that when she said that?
Yeah, remember that during the video clip.
Yeah,
Yeah, it says dynamic island for when things just pop up. Dynamic island bubbles up alerts and live activities so you don't miss them. You can track
yeah.
your next ride, flight
Yeah,
status.
that was a big feature from last year, but you didn't hear much about that in the last year or so. You would think developers would be making apps and stuff for that, but it never did really take off. But because it was only available on two phones. But now this year, it's available on all the phones except the
Right.
SE, and so you may see some apps that supports that better.
Yeah. Well, it says the main camera now shoots in super high res, so it's easier than ever to take standout photos with amazing detail. Up to 4x resolution and a 2x telephoto lens.
Right.
And I'm not sure what that's all about there. Magical portraits.
It's got the old processor from last year in it. Okay.
Yeah.
Not quite, but then,
The
they got
bionic.
to save
It's
the,
got the bionic, right?
yeah, but,
All day battery
this,
life. Up to 25 hours video playback and up to 20 hours video playback.
yeah, so, Apple's not leaving any money on the table. I mean, they've got, if you look at their price range, they're all about $100 difference a piece.
Right.
Okay. And so, and this phone is good for just about everybody. I mean, this is not,
It's not an
and you can
entry
save some
level
money to
phone
boot.
by any means.
No, it's good. Yeah, yeah, it's a good phone.
Yeah. USB-C compatible. They talk about that.
Yeah,
Of course, they talk about SOS, I believe.
right.
And of course, once again, to make a difference with the environment, it's 75% recycled aluminum. And of course, iOS 17. Answer calls or messages from your iPhone directly on your Mac. Copy images, video, or text from your iPhone that paste into another app on your nearby Mac, iPhone, and
Yeah.
Apple Watch. Let's go ahead and flip over to the Pro here. Oh man.
Available in two phones, the Pro and the Pro Plus. I
Yeah.
was going to say Pro Max, but it's Pro Plus. I thought the rumor had it they were going to come with a Pro. It was going to be a Pro Ultra,
Right. Let's see.
but not
Here's
the
the
case.
Pro. Click on the Pro here. I think I need a new iPad. This is an iPad
That's the
Pro.
big.
I think this is one of the original ones that I'm on right now.
Yeah,
The
that lasts forever.
iPhone 15 Pro. It's all titanium, Doug.
How about that titanium?
Yep.
Yeah,
And it's got a brand new chip. The A17 Pro.
Yeah.
It's strong and light.
3 cameras.
3 cameras. The longest optical zoom in an iPhone. Of course, they're not telling you how many X's in the zoom, but it's got an action button also.
Yeah, that action button, you can do different things like hit record. I guess you can program it for several different deals.
Yeah,
Okay, sort of like a shortcut.
right.
Okay, and I don't know how many features they didn't tell you how many different types of apps or actions you can do on that, but
Well,
no,
right
it's
now it
no,
looks like there's the camera, there's the flashlight, there's the record button. So if you're doing dictation, if you're a doctor doing dictation, I guess you could initiate that pretty quickly. Can't really
yeah,
tell what the other icons are. Let's see.
it's probably going to be the native Apple apps like the weather and the infamous stock tracker. I don't know
Yeah.
about the stock tracker, but I guess that would be good for the digital island, maybe. I don't know.
Now
And
it only
then,
it only comes in those bland colors though. It doesn't come in the nice colorful rainbow colors.
well, anything if you know anything about material science, titanium not the easiest thing to. I guess they anodize it or something.
Right.
I was listening to a podcast the other day. They were talking about it, but it's not easily painted.
Ah, yeah, it's forged in titanium. It's the first iPhone to feature an aerospace grade titanium design
I was
using
just
the
going to mention
same
that
alloy
aerospace
that
gray. Yeah,
spacecraft use for missions to
yeah,
Mars. What they
yep.
do? Go
We
talk
use
to Elon?
we use titanium quite a bit on the B-2 bomber.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And of course, it's got the A17 Pro chip. They talked a little bit about this, about the fact that it was comparable to some of the, video game consoles like the Xbox or
yeah.
the
They do that every year.
PS5.
They get they get some Japanese game guy you get up there. You can't understand what the heck he's saying, and you'll play a game. This titanium's got me interested because my phone now, all the Apple phones, if you leave them out in the sun,
Yeah,
okay, they get too hot and they'll shut down.
yeah,
For example, when I go out to the Green Monster, when I go swimming, I take my phone out there, and then I put it inside the shoe because it gives it shade, and
right.
so that way it doesn't overheat. Okay, so being titanium, since titanium can take heat so well, I wonder if that's going to prevent it from overheating.
I don't know. That'd be an interesting situation.
Yeah,
But
and do you
definitely,
actually need a case? Do you need a case anymore?
right? I mean, other than for the glass, I don't know what else you would need a case for.
Well, that case, that Gorilla Glass now is just. Well, I think they said something about a stronger Gorilla Glass. They pretty
Yeah,
much got that licked. You know,
yeah,
I've dropped my phone many times and it hasn't busted the glass one bit.
yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
just
I
got an
remember when you had to
ST.
replace your glass all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, a camera that captures your wildest imagination. You know.
Yep.
Ah, there it
I
is.
wonder what. I,
It's got ultra wide macro lens, and then it's got a 1x main at 20. That's at 24 millimeters. That's at 28 millimeters. That's at 35 millimeters. There's your telephoto lens at 48 millimeters. And then there's the new 5X telephoto at 120 millimeters.
so I wonder what these camera companies like Canon and
Well, you know,
Sony and all the rest of them.
they still obviously are going to have a market of some sort, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I think for professional photography, there's
Instead of
still a
lugging around a heavy camera all the time,
right.
like like Leo's always going. Leo Laporte's always going to Europe, and the last couple of times, he doesn't even. He's got all those cameras. He doesn't even take them anymore. He just takes his iPhone.
Yeah, and then of course 120 millimeters of zoom. Let me replay that. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that we've been experimenting the last couple of weeks was, we've got a Starship launch that's still pending. And from where we're planning to shoot live video of the launch, it's about 5 miles from the launch pad. So we've kind of gotten a 1500 lens just to reach 5 miles. And even at 5 miles, it's still not that clear. But
You going to
um,
shoot it from the island, or at the park there on the island, or are you going to shoot it over on
we're
the?
gonna shoot it from the island.
Okay,
Yeah, we're gonna.
Isla Blanca.
Yeah, yeah. There was a
Hopefully,
thought
there's
we
no
may be
clouds that
doing it
day.
from the Mexican side, but I don't think we want to see the Mexican side is 3 miles versus
You don't want to go over there.
no, not with all this equipment. Obviously not. We'd be a
Obviously not.
we'd be a prime target,
Obviously,
right, for
yeah. They see that Texas
confiscation.
driver. They see that Texas car license on there, and they grab you up in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna do it over the island, but we've been kind of toying with different kind of lenses, to try to get the best view possible. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. And of course, the action button, they talk about it a little bit more. Silent mode, focus, camera, flashlight, voice memo, translate. Oh, wow, Doug. Look at that. Translate.
Huh.
You
How
can
about that?
speak to it in English and translate it for you in Spanish.
There you go.
Magnifier, shortcut, and accessibility. Accessibility is a big thing for people that are disabled.
Apple's always been an accessibility company. They for years, I mean for decades, they've always had a lot of stuff for people with accessibility.
Right. And of course, the USB connector, they talk about that,
Yeah.
high speed
Did, did
transfer.
you did you see the part about the the spatial video? The spatial video is you do 3D video, and it'll work with the Vision Quest or the Vision deal.
Yeah, let me see. Ah, there it is. Shoot magical spatial videos, then relive them on Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, only
Yeah,
for $3,500.
yeah.
So
Let's
they're getting
see.
ready for it now.
Yep. And then, of course, battery life, 29
Yeah, lasts forever.
hours.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they talk about emergency SOS, roadside assistance, crash detection. And once again, it's 100% recycled aluminum. iOS 17. And of course, just like the others, interoperability with the Mac. What else did they mention, Doug? Like I said, I watched 3/4 of it, but I didn't get all the way till the end because I had other things I had to do.
You pretty much hit the whole thing.
Yeah,
Um, but looking at the prices, I've got it written down here. Okay, the most expensive phone is $999, and then you go down to $799. Then
right.
you go down to $699. Then you go down to $599, and then you go for the SE for $429.
Yep.
So they've got all their bases covered on this. They're not leaving anything. They're not leaving any money on the table.
Right. They've got everybody
Yeah,
covered. No doubt about that.
yeah, yeah.
And which of the
Back,
phones are available now for ordering? All of them or some of them?
I think they're ready. Well, they won't be. You'll be able to order till Friday, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and then it'll probably be, like our time. It'll probably be like 2 o'clock in the morning because they're 2 hours behind us,
Right. Right.
or whatever. So there'll be a big rush. I don't know. This year's a little bit different. iPhone sales have been somewhat flat.
Right.
So, um, because everybody's got two or three of them, just like
Right.
TV sets. Everybody's got two or three TV sets.
Right.
But you still got people, that their phones break or whatever, and they need a new phone. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, there's the
look
price
for the
points
kit.
right there. As you
Yep.
mentioned, $999 for the 15 Pro, $799 for the iPhone 15. You've got the 14 at $699, and of course $429 for the SE.
Yeah.
Yep. And of course, they've got different screen sizes, for each one. So, you know, um, all righty. Well, definitely it was exciting to see today the lineup that was introduced. I think the biggest thing really was the watch, the Series 9 watch, and of course the Ultra 2. I think that's they spent a lot of time on it, a lot of time talking
Yeah.
about it. So um, that'll be interesting to see how that rolls out. And especially with you know, uh, they mentioned the developer's been very, very busy redesigning a lot of this around the watch, a lot of the apps around the watch, stuff like that. So, all
Yep.
righty,
So
Doug.
I think iOS 17 will be available next week,
Okay.
and then Mac, the Mac software Sonoma, that'll be. I think they announced it'd be ready September the 22nd, which pretty much tells you they're not going to have a Mac iPad event in October.
Ah, that they're not going to have one or that they are?
Yeah, no, they're not going to have one.
Yeah.
That's what all the experts say.
Yeah.
Also, too, they increased the your iCloud space.
Uh huh.
They went up to they increased that from 2 gigabytes up to 6 gigabytes, something like that,
Okay.
and some several plans, but they didn't say what the prices were.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool. All
yeah.
righty. All righty, Doug. Well, we've gone 8 minutes past the hour. Hopefully, my friends on X haven't booted me off. They have me limited, even though
X previously,
I'm paying
yeah,
extra for that blue check mark.
previously known as Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, I'm paying for that extra blue check mark to be
Did you
entitled
go
to
out?
everything Elon.
Did you go out and buy the new Elon Musk book by Isaacson?
Not yet. I've seen a lot of excerpts of it. You know, um, we just found out this week that he's had another secret child. I don't know
What
what
do
are
you call
these.
this?
What, up to 10
This
now?
one called X or Y. This was
I
X or
have
Y or
no
Z.
idea. But he definitely puts those out pretty quickly. Oh man. All
He's
righty,
something
Doug.
else, boy. I love him. I think he's great.
Well, hopefully we can get FAA clearance soon here, because a lot of people are getting very antsy down here when there's not a launch scheduled on time. So
Oh well, it'll happen.
it'll
It'll
happen.
happen.
You know.
It'll happen.
All righty,
Yeah,
Doug. Well, it was a great show tonight. As always, it's great to have you on. And we'll be back this coming weekend with another episode of Doug's Dugout. And maybe, maybe not. We'll have a launch later on in the week. Who knows?
let's
So
hope so. Let me know when they do.
I will. I actually have a little bit of inside contacts, so they'll let me know probably before anybody else knows. So we'll see what happens.
That's great. Okay.
All righty, Doug. Well, you have a
Okay.
great evening, and we will see you during the weekend.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Bye
Good night,
bye.
everybody. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Another successful episode.